Adrian, shall we review this year's truck test just to
sure.
see what worked well, maybe what didn't work too well, and maybe we can just start with the planning and preparation. Obviously this year there was a bit of a concern when Fritz passed away that maybe we need to postpone the test or cancel it, and I think it was great that everybody pulled together and made it work, and it was great to see that you came on board.
Yeah, Fritz was such a great friend, an awesome guy, so from my side it was an honour to step in and assist. We've done it before with Fritz, 100%. To make it a success, especially in his honour, to me is pretty important.
And obviously Vic was also there.
Yeah,
it was great to have extra hands on deck, and Vic is always a good technical man to have.
And it's a learning curve for new guys, what this is all about. Everybody just learns it, which is lovely.
And then obviously Focus took over a lot of the organising that Fritz was involved in. A lot of people didn't realise how much work Fritz had put into it, and Focus was great. And then the main sponsors like Engine and Sea-Track also came on board, and in the end it all worked out great.
Yeah, I think a good team effort was what pulled this whole thing together so quickly and quite smoothly. There was no real major hiccups whatsoever. Some late nights, a lot of work, but I think it worked out nice.
We did a bit of extra planning and preparation just to make sure everything did go smoothly. And I mean, like on the first day, and even before the first day, we had the pre-test inspection, which was a good idea to make sure that all the trucks were legal before they go out on the road.
Something that we should have done in the first test would have probably helped a lot. So we sorted out all the niggles and managed to sort out a couple of things, and it just makes day one of the test 1,000 times easier when you've had the opportunity to go through everything, tick off all the boxes, all the vehicles right, etc., etc. So
day one started off great. You know, the refueling was way easier than last year. Remember, we had lots of issues last year getting the fuel tanks to the right level, and people not being able to see whether it's full or at what level we'd filled it to. This year we had those plastic pipes.
Yeah, that was a good idea. That demarcating the tank, awesome idea. It just made it so much simpler.
I mean, we've refilled the trucks within about an hour.
Yeah.
And everybody was happy. It was nice and transparent to everyone that we filled them to the right level.
Yeah.
And they could all go off on that first day.
Yeah, I think one thing we did learn out of day one is everybody sitting down for a lengthy breakfast before we leave. Probably not a great idea, because we ended up leaving so late, but that was just another one of those learnings, which just today, on the last day, it was so much easier just to take away breakfast and off we go, get the trucks on the road nice and early.
Yeah. And on the first day, we were wondering or debating what sort of speeds the guys would be running at, and we'd done simulations using the Transoft software to see what the performance would be if they run at 100 k's an hour or at a maximum of say 90. And then on the day they caught us all by surprise, and they ran no more than 80 k's an hour.
Yeah, and it just shows me that this market segment is so important to the manufacturers, that everybody went and done their homework before the test. You know, legally they can run at 120, we presume they'd run at about 90, 100, but they'd gone and done their work and understood that the efficiencies were sitting around the 80k mark, and that's what they'd done, which was very interesting.
I mean, I was surprised to see some of the fuel consumptions coming out of it. You know, we'd actually had to go back and redo our simulations at 80 k's an hour, and I mean, fuel consumptions dropped from, you know, every time you drop the speed by about 10 k's an hour, the fuel consumption drops by about 2.5 litres 100. So it made a huge difference.
Yeah. For me, what was great is watching all the OEMs checking each other's fuel consumptions. So the competitive, to understand how their vehicles are performing, is so important, and that was interesting. And over and above it, they got along like a bunch of good mates. As competitive as they are in business, on the test, the camaraderie is pretty remarkable, which is nice to see.
But like you say, it's competitive out there on the road.
The guys take this seriously. That's very competitive.
So the first day went well. Second day, off to Geratech. They were ready and fueled up to go. So we started nice and early, got to Geratech, weighed the trucks there. Everything ran nice and smoothly there.
It was a smooth day, well organised. Geratech, great facility. So that really went down well. I think out of the end of day two, we probably find that driver behaviour had a massive influence in fuel consumption. That was an interesting standout for me on day two.
You could see some of the guys really pushing it around that ride and handling track, thinking it's a Formula One event,
and other guys being a lot more conservative,
again showing our speed and aggressive driver behavior, how that influences fuel consumption.
The driver,
Okay.
Then day 3.
I mean the guys
simple,
went back to Belfast on an empty leg. So really pushing the limits in terms of bringing down the fuel consumption. Really interesting to see, what is achievable with a vehicle if you're running it empty and at low speed.
On our last day, starting off a lot earlier, take away breakfast, get the guys on the road early, I think was a great idea. Getting back nice and early was also good. And I also think, to me, the standout of the last day was the guys learned from day 1 and applied their learnings in their driving manners and styles in the last day, which was also very interesting.
And we can now already start thinking ahead in terms of what we're going to do next year. And some of the manufacturers have given us some sort of feedback and ideas, and everybody's already keen to run with some maybe bigger, extra heavy commercial vehicles.
Those
next year.
Some ideas have been thrown about routes, etc. And that's crazy. We've just finished off the last day, and the guys are already talking about 2015. So looking forward to that. See what happens.
I think we need to start planning for that pretty soon.
Good.
All right.